island cruising model. Okay, so one of the things that that going to Tonga and to a certain extent going to Savu Savu that's great for the passage is a stop off at Minerva Reef. So Minerva Reef, if you have a look here, is down here. So Savu Savu and Fiji over here, and Tomatapu over here is only 225 nautical miles from Minerva Reef. So it makes a really good place to stop for a period on the way up. Generally speaking, coming out of New Zealand to go to the tropics, we're looking at the beginning of winter time. So we've got high following low following high. So as the high pressures come across, we start off with southeasterly winds in New Zealand, out of New Zealand, and generally speaking in May they're starting to come across at between 5, 6, perhaps maybe 7 days. So it's perfect from the point of view that if you get to Minerva on the back end of the high pressure system down here, the winds have already gone into the northeast. Okay, so getting from there back up to Tonga is quite hard work. So you don't want to be in that situation. Stop off at Minerva Reef. There are, by the way, 2 of them. So there they are. They're about 35 nautical miles apart. And the southern one has a very good anchorage in the eastern lagoon. And the western lagoon down here has absolutely phenomenal snorkeling and spearfishing in it. The southern lagoon is also, the southern Minerva is also tipped very slightly northward. So the front of the lagoon, the southern edge of the lagoon is higher than the northern edge. So which means that if you're in a northeasterly, coming down this way, the chances are that the wind is going to blow some waves into the anchorage there. So pretty good into the east and southeast, not quite so good into the northeast and north. Whereas North Minerva Reef up here is good in all weathers and all wind directions. So it's about 3 nautical miles across the lagoon, but a great place to park. Now, space-wise, you could put the Pacific Fleet in there. In fact, they did during the Second World War. So there's room for about 30 naval boats, so you can get as many yachts in there as you like. 8 to 12 meters, maybe 14 meters in good sand holding. We've seen boats quite comfortable in there and up to 60 knots. So it's a good place. You will get a joggle coming in over the reef at high tide, but generally speaking, it's manageable. Okay. Just watch the entranceways. The entranceway down here, there's 2 of them, and it's much wider. You don't tend to get the standing waves in the entranceway. But up here at North Minerva, there's quite a high chance that you're going to get some standing waves on an outgoing tide. If there's any strong southeasterly or easterly blow bringing the waves over the top of the reef at mid-tide, you'll get an awful lot of water trying to get out through that entranceway. Entranceway is only about 75 meters wide. Okay? Will?
You had mentioned the snorkeling at Lower Minerva, but in the circular Minerva, how is the snorkeling up there?
It's a little bit in the East Lagoon. The water has a sort of effervescence to it because it's coming in over the reef, and it's a little bit cloudy. But there's down at about that point there on this is called the Herald Bight. So the Herald Bight, at this point here, there's a gap big enough to get a dinghy or a tender through to take into the inner lagoon. So brilliant. If you get the opportunity to stay at both the South and North Minerva, you'll love it. It's tremendous. I know a good writer that filmed with that. Okay, so from there up to Tonga, how many people are clearing into Tomatapu? Everybody, basically, right. Okay, so Tomatapu, if you're going in with the island cruising mod, you'll probably clear at Big Mama's, which is on Pangihutu Island. So we'll take a bit of a look at that. So Pangimoto is that island there. The main Nuku'alofa is across here. Fabulous market in Nuku'alofa. So you don't need to worry about your fresh fruit and vegetables. You can get all the fresh fruit and vegetables you can poke a stick at the Nuku'alofa market. Good supermarkets and etc. So Big Mama's got wiped out unfortunately in the tsunami when the island of Tonga, which is up over here, exploded a couple of years back. So it's just a lovely beach, and Big Mama and Errol will look after you beautifully if you're here in Sydney. I wouldn't spend too much time in here. There's not a lot to see and do as far as anchorages are concerned in Nuku'alofa. If you're arriving, you're best to arrive on the western side, coming up through here. T1 here is the Egeria Passage, which is easily navigable during the day. If you're coming in at night time, you're best to go around into the main shipping channel and down through from there and anchor off Big Mama's island of Pangimoto. Coming in through the Piha Passage is fraught. There's a lot of water comes in and out of here, and if you've got the southeast or easterly trades blowing in here and an outgoing tide, it can get really lumpy in that channel. So far better to come in from the western side. Questions? Nothing? Okay. Moving right along. Next group up is the Hapai group. So you've got about 150 nautical miles up from Nuku'alofa. It's basically it's not doable in a day unless you're going in at the Namuka end of there. So Namuka used to have a resort on it, and unfortunately, again with the tsunami, all the trees and everything were taking off in Namuka Iki. It's a great anchorage. The anchorage off the island is tremendous, and there's a lovely village over here which is well worth a visit. Our favourite places, though, are up in the central Hapai group. So, Lynn, are you listening?
I'm listening.
What's that island right there?
I can't see it.
Ua Nuka
I
Hihifo.
know which one it is, but I can't see it.
Okay, so from Namuka up to the top of the Hapai, you could spend a month there quite easily. It's just absolutely drop dead gorgeous. A little place up here called Ueliva. Ueliva is one of those rare tropical anchorages where it goes from sand against the bush all the way to the bottom of the lagoon. So no coral reef in the place. On the northern end of the island, on the southern end, it's the most beautiful snorkeling. How many guys are divers here? Any divers? So the drift dive back in here. Now, don't do it on the outgoing tide, do it on the incoming tide. Because you're bringing fresh, clean water in from the open ocean, and the reef dive along here is absolutely stunning. You'll get.
And one too.
I'll get there.
Really
Okay, so we've got some information coming from Lynn there. So she loves this particular one.
Just before you go on further, we have seen more whale sightings in the Hapai than we ever saw in the below. And there's only one operator in the Hapai that goes out for whale watching, so the whales are less threatened as well. So we've had there's great experiences with Tonga as well, but we've had better experiences in the Hapai with whale than we did in the Tonga.
Yeah. You just have to be a little careful on the Hapai of your navigation. So the charting isn't very good. We've done all the routes in here with qualified and curated waypoints. So follow the waypoints, you're fine. But during transiting through the Hapai, you're really better to have somebody up on the bow with a good pair of Polaroid sunglasses looking for the coral heads and directing the boat. So as far as the whales are concerned, generally speaking, the whales are going to start coming in force a little bit later than the year than you'll perhaps be in if you're going with the rally across to Fiji from there. Generally speaking, your best whale watching period is from around about September onwards. Okay, so coming up into the northern group of Tonga. Can anybody tell me what the northern group is called? Sorry, how do you pronounce that? Vava'u.
It's a great pronunciation.
Okay, so how would you pronounce the hapai? Ha'apai. Yes, so there's two A's in there. Okay. As you can see, unbelievable number of anchorages in the hapai. So we've Vava'u. Okay, so there's an unbelievable number of anchorages in the hapai as well. But now that we're looking at the Vava'u, we'll say there's the same there. So tremendous. You've got anchorages 10 minutes down the trip. In fact, your biggest problem if you haven't got enough solar on board is running your motor for long enough to charge the freezer or to do the batteries back up again. One of the things I will say is if you are going to cruise the Vava'u area, that you'll get all your provisioning done here in the Afu Harbour. You won't get much in the way of provisioning anywhere else in Vava'u. But come out to the west, the eastern areas out here. A little island here called Kanutu, and Kanutu is just one of those absolutely drop-dead gorgeous island paradises. If the wind's been blowing and there's quite a bit of swell coming this way, you'll actually see the water spouts coming up from the eastern side of the island above the level of the island, 100 foot in the air. It's just stunning. You can walk along all of these islands and look out to the east. If you come out a couple of hundred meters this way, from the cliffs at the top of both of these islands, half a mile out to sea, you're in 10 kilometers of water. So that's the Tongan Trench on the eastern side. So if you've got the time, you can go to the north of Tonga up to this area here, which is where Nuatopatapu is. Okay, so Nuatopatapu, absolutely beautiful, a large lagoon, easy entry, lovely people, and that's great to go visit Samoa from as well. So Samoa here, Wallace over here, and then back down to Sabu here. So if we go to Sabu now, or to Fiji now rather, coming to Sabu, which is up here. Good, easy transit from coming in from Fiji. If you're leaving from Tonga, if you're leaving from the hapai, you're generally speaking going to come in through the Lau Group. If you're coming in with the island cruising mob, you'll come into here at Balabalabu if they manage to get that organised. Have you heard anything more on that, Adam? Not yet?
I think she's trying for long haul.
Yeah.
The Arthur's coming in, and they will be clearing it.
Right, okay, so as long as they don't...
I would imagine Biggie's going to sort that.
Right, okay, cool. So...
If you're leaving Vava'u, where do you clear the customs? Where you said you get your stores and provisions?
Yep, so Niathu is the place that you'll clear your customs. The guys in Vava'u also like you to, particularly immigration, to go and just tell immigration that you're in the area. Won't matter as far as your visa is concerned that you got in Nuku'alofa, and the customs department will want to see you as well. So in Tonga, you have to clear into and out of each of the island groups. So if you're starting off in Nuku'alofa, you have to clear out of Nuku'alofa in order to go further north. If you're passing through and stopping in the hapai group, then at Pangai you can do all of that. and then going into Whakatu, you can do that at the main wharf in the Neafu Harbour. Okay? Clearing out, same thing, at the wharf, at the immigration, and away you go. So generally speaking, it's about 2 days across to Vanubalavu here. Vanubalavu gives you easy access down into the lower or the southern Lau. So there are, well, of course, you can spend a lot of time in Vanubalavu as well. Adam, do you want to tell them about Mavatu Harbour?
It's probably one of the most spectacular places in Fiji. We have a property out there, it's 800 acres, and it's one of the most protected anchorages in the whole of Fiji. You're welcome to come there. It's right there where John's pointing with the laser. It's an ex-copper plantation. We've got cows and pigs and sheep and various other bits and bobs. You can go for a walk through the property. We've got a great lookout as well, which looks out over the Bay of Islands. And there's a photo of the property. In the bottom right-hand corner is the yacht club, which is only open when we're there. So it's not open very often.
But the flag's flying.
Yeah. But you're welcome to come in there. There's a little barbecue if you can get it going, you can use it. And then there's a track going up that cliff that goes up to the main house up the top. And then that's the plantation over there. And you're welcome to go on a cruise. You don't need to do any separate. Just come and say hello to us if we're there. Which is very rare.
Okay, so from there down to the bottom of the Lau, there are so many places to stop on the way down. Each one of these squares, there's a lot of information to go with. What we generally speaking do, though, when we're coming into Vanubalavu or coming down from perhaps the Somuso Strait Tabayuni area, which we'll show you in a minute, is to start at Vanubalavu at the top of the Lau group, but then on a northeasterly wind transit all the way down to the bottom down to here, which is Falama here and Ongea here. Now Ongea looks like it's all covered in reef all the way around. It's not. And in actual fact, the guys over at Falama, who have a little bit of a competition with the guys in Ongea, will tell you that there are no anchorages and no pass through the reef at Ongea. Don't believe them because it's one of the most drop-dead gorgeous places that there is. So that is Ongea.
They also get their supplies. The supply ship goes into Tonga.
There's a little village over here with a shop,
Comes from Tonga.
and they get all sorts of stuff over there.
So you get
By boat. Okay, so you can't see it at the moment. You can go out of here and go all the way around the outside of all these islands here. But these motus through here are fantastic because you can take a paddleboard or your dinghy at high tide through there. It's just the most stunning place. How many of you are bird watchers? I know that's a really interesting sort of question, but in Ongea, this area here, where the forest is natural forest, has been there for 1,000 years. We were anchored in the anchorage here every morning, working with birdsong of hundreds of different types of birds, just expanding with a fabulous place. Anyway, we'll go back and we'll have a look at okay, so that is Ongea in the background there. That's what we were just looking at, the island there. This is Fulama, and Fulama is spelled in a number of different ways. Fulama, Falama. There's various different spellings for it, but if you're down that way, anything will do as far as the locals are concerned. Lovely people. They will probably charge you a fee for a conservation fee for there to keep the lagoon pristine. They want to keep it as pristine as possible. $60 was the last time we were there, which was 2 years ago. So.
Just a
And you
note
get
on
dropped
it,
above
on
anyway.
I've met people that have circumnavigated the world multiple times, And they say that the island of Fulana is the most spectacular place that they've ever been to in the whole world. So it's definitely something you should put on your radar.
That's a high endorsement.
What was the name?
Fulana or Fulana? So this is the entry that you come in. It's not very wide, but it's well marked and quite deep, and it also makes an absolutely wonderful snorkel on the incoming tide. So take your dinghies right out to the edge of the pass, jump in the water on the incoming tide, and absolutely stunning. So the last time we passed, we went over the top of a group of sharks that were basking on the bottom, just letting the incoming tide go through their gills. It was fabulous. So they do a fantastic meki, which is a feast and dancing, and the locals are just amazing. Okay, questions about the library? No questions? Okay, so you get a lot of choices from the library. You can either go across from Falanga here, across through these three islands out here. You've got Meola, Tatoya, and Matuku. We stopped at Matuku the last time we went through, and some friends stopped at Meola this year and at Tatoya and had a wonderful time. So you can either come across this way, go to the Astrolab and Kandavu down in this area down here. You can pop into Suva if you want to here. The Benga Lagoon is another area here. Benga is world renowned for its diving. And one of the dives that we do there is a shark dive. And the shark dive is a situation where they come down. You've got 2 or 3 dive masters there that have got a closed lid on a container. They put you in a group in a circle around it, and then they start bringing fish heads and fish out of the container, and the sharks come in. And they've got one particular resident shark. How many people know about tiger sharks? Okay. Are they nice or nasty?
Nice.
Well, this particular tiger shark that they know well and they feed it regularly has a personality and is a little bit belligerent, and he just loves coming past you into the center of the circle by nudging his way in between 2 divers, and he's about 20 feet long.
They are enormous.
So they haven't lost anybody yet, but they might if they run out of fish heads. So, yes.
If Vicky can't organise customs clearance in Laos, we've got to get the South and come back on it.
Correct. Okay. So I had somebody else that was asking that question earlier. So if you have to go to Sabasaba, which is up here, then re-provision, get all your fresh fruit and vegetables, get your kama, all the rest of it, and then come back out and up into the Soma Strait here. Now you'll need to wait for a period where there's little or no wind in order to do that 35 nautical miles. But once you're at the halfway point, about here, you're in the lee of Tabayuni here, which is, it's huge. I think it's about 3,000 meters high. So it's a very, very high island, 3,000 feet it might be actually. It's like a great big brick wall in front of the trade wind. So you get this lovely area in behind it here, which is almost always calm, almost always clear blue skies. There's a couple of really nice anchorages on the mainland here. You've got
one interesting thing when you're going through the Soma Strait, you cross the date line, the 180-degree meridian, and sometimes your nav system will wig out. It's like, it'll be today or tomorrow, and it will kind of crap itself for about 3 minutes until you go far enough across, and then it goes, oh, okay, here we are. So it's a really weird thing when you go past it. Yeah. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
okay, so there's actually
Yeah.
There's a monument there as well, and a placard where you've got two lines of paving stones between. You can put 1 foot in the Western Hemisphere and 1 foot in the Eastern Hemisphere, and go from today to tomorrow. But fun. Okay, so down at the bottom down here is a lovely little resort called Paradise Tabiuti. They welcome cruisers, lovely spot. Vianney Bay up here is one of the most beautiful spots. There's lots of walks to do around the area as well. Lots of places to go. But if you want to get back down to Lau, basically once you come across from Sabu Sabu, you come across to this area here. Some of the best diving in the world. There's 3 or 4 of the top 10 paddy sites within 30 miles of this point here. So well worth a visit if you're a diver. But go with one of the providers. You get a lot of current running down through this Summer Strait here. So you've got to time your dives to the currents. And some of the dives are good in the morning, some of the dives are good in the afternoon. So you really have to have an expert dive with you or for you in order to get the best out of it. The guys down here at Paradise Tabiuti have a dive centre. Up in here in Vianney Bay, you've got 2 providers up here, Dalton Dive and the Dive Academy, which are both very, very skilled, very good operators. To get down to Vanuatu, come up over the top of Tabiuti into this area here called Gamia. And there's a lovely anchorage here, which is just a 2-mile flick out from there and into the ocean. And it's about 60 miles down to Vanuatu. You'd want to wait for a northeasterly, so the back end of a high pressure system to do that final leg down. But relatively easy to do in a 1-day hop. The charging is very good around here. We've got some waypoints you can follow. So you can come out of your anchorage here and then right on dark, right on dawn. So you've got plenty of time to get down to Vanuatu. That's the Western Fiji, and if we go back to here, you can either go this way back up from Falana here, all the way back to here, then over the top and back to the Western districts here, or you can go from here up to Yandua, which is another brilliant little spot, and then across to the top of the Isawas and work your way back down the Isawas to the Mamanuthas that are in here. And of course, how many people have heard of a little place called Bunda Marina? You've heard of them?
Do I get a prize? I have.
Yeah. You have? What are they like?
It's been a long time ago.
Okay, so the other absolutely magic spot in the Mamanuthas is a little place called Musket Cove. How many people have heard of Musket Cove? Okay, so Musket Cove has a regatta, which I think this year is the 12th to the 15th. I'm not 100% sure. Of September, and it is well worth being there for that event. You actually raced there last year, didn't you?
Yes, we came.
Sorry, that's last by how many?
No, we're not. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. Killing me.
So the racing is punctuated by lots of periods of very hard drinking and having fun. So there's lots and lots to do. Musket Cove is just one of those absolutely fabulous places. So,
it's the quintessential reason why you come to Fiji. It's got the blue water, you've got your diving, the fishing, the surfing, all within 15 minutes of it. It's absolutely stunning. That's an aerial shot of the anchorage. So there's got a mixture of moorings, you could tie off alongside, or you could just drop your hook on that side.
So that is Bunda over there. So you're not that far from Musket Cove. Denro is in behind the marina signs, so we'll forget about that. so that's Tonga and Fiji in a nutshell. So the next island groups over are Vanuatu and New Caledonia. Now, Vanuatu particularly is one of our favourite places after Fiji. It's a great second stop on the way if you're going across to Australia. It's also used a lot of the time if you're wanting to go further west from the Pacific by leaving from Luganville, which is the top end of. How many people have heard of the rocket guides? Okay, so if you go on our website, the Sail South Pacific website, there's a link to the rocket guides, which will give you a discount. And the rocket guides are well worthwhile getting. They're like these apps that we've been watching now, but for Vanuatu and New Caledonia. So bear with me a second.
Right, and just while he's loading this up, just for everyone's info, the app that John is using is his Sail South Pacific apps. They are fantastic. All the information that he's just been going through is on that app. And just a wealth of information. You can keep zooming in until you get the information that you're after. They've got great waypoints and suggestions on waiting for certain tides and winds and all the rest of it.
Thank you for that.